Now, it's late afternoon, you whip out your smartphone and you see you've only got 15% battery left. Is that you? That's me, at least once a week. Now, it goes without saying at this point that you need to kill all the parts of the system that you're not using. Quit the applications running in the background. Turn off Bluetooth. Don't use the video camera. But you still need to get through the rest of your day's business on the remaining drops of juice you have left. Should you make phone calls or should you send texts instead? Should you turn off Wi-Fi? Well, we put together a Click Essential Guide to keeping your smartphone alive just that little bit longer. We'll start with the biggest guzzler of them all, the screen. It's overwhelmingly the most power-hungry part of your device. On some phones, draining your battery as fast as your processor does when it's working at maximum speed. And that means that it's not just gaming and sat-naving, but simple browsing and typing which consume an awful lot of power, simply because the screen stays on the whole time. So it makes sense that a great way of saving battery is simply to turn down the brightness. LCD screens are particularly bad because they use a backlight to illuminate the whole display. OLED screens are more efficient as only the pixels that are lit draw power. And that means if you do have a phone with an OLED screen, choosing a darker colour scheme will save you power. Now, the lowest power state you can put your phone into is flight mode. However, since that switches off all the radios in the device, it's not actually useful if you're waiting for that one important call or email. So, should you use Wi-Fi or the mobile network? Well, that depends what you're planning to do. Now, as long as you're in range of Wi-Fi, it's often a better option than 3G. In tests, browsing and emailing takes much less power over Wi-Fi than 3G, and that's partly because the connection is faster, so you get more data through in a shorter time. If you're on a train or in a car, 3G gets even more battery hungry because it takes extra power to frequently hop between 3G cells. So, if you have a mobile Wi-Fi hotspot, time to turn it on. However, if you're not on the move and you're just waiting for an incoming message, it might be best to switch Wi-Fi off, as it takes more power to maintain an idle Wi-Fi connection than a 3G connection. It's not just sat-nav and maps which burn your phone's GPS receiver. More and more apps ask your phone where it is, and for that reason, it's best to switch off your GPS when you're not using it, lest it gets constantly pinged for information and triangulation. And on the subject of apps, free ones are generally more power hungry than paid for ones, and that's because of the ads that they're constantly pulling down. And finally, here's a surprise. If you've ever been tempted to send a text instead of making a call because you thought your message would be transmitted quicker and you might save battery, well, think again. Once a phone call has connected, power consumption on everything apart from the radio drops right off, and crucially, that power-hungry display goes dark. So, unless you have lightning fingers, it turns out that keeping the screen lit to type the text message actually uses more energy than the transmission of the phone call.